Hi everyone, and my name is Nonye. Welcome to the Lemonade channel. Today I wanted us to talk about the different things that you can do to get your breast milk supply up. So watch this video if you want to know how I went from this to this to this to this on just one boob, and then to this 7 ounces from one breast. The beginning was so frustrating, but it all came together in the end. Now these are things that work for me at different times. I applied some of them more than the others, and depending on how it's feeling, I choose one over the other. But in general, these are the 5 things that I did, and there are a couple of things that I also did, which I don't necessarily think they made that much of an impact, but they might help someone out there. So let's talk about it. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a backstory just to see why this was really important for me to get my milk supply back on track, because I experienced a very big lag between when my milk supply came in and the rest of my breastfeeding journey. So right after my baby, I had serious medical complications from his birth that had me going in and out of the hospital and admissions for the first month of his life. So throughout the first month, I was either supplementing with formula and eventually became completely dependent on formula because I totally dried up. So if anyone is in similar shoes, or you're struggling between fully feeding your baby with breast milk only, or you just want to increase your supply just so you can have more stored if you're trying to get back to work soon. So like most people, I had a breast pump ready before my baby even came. But at the hospital, the lactation specialist offered me a handheld manual pump. So just to stimulate my breast, just to keep things going. So I had that already down by the time I brought my baby home. So my first tip would be use a pump. If you're not very comfortable with an electric pump, it's okay. You can use just a handheld one. In fact, I have not used my electric pump in a long time. So for some people, you just want to sit back and just put on the pump and just use it. You don't necessarily need to express a lot of milk, but just keeping that stimulation going would really be helpful. That's one thing that you want to do. Also, that would really be helpful later down the line when you start to have a lot of milk. So it's good to invest in one, even if it's just a manual one, easy. But you can buy them used. They're easy to sanitize, and you can just use them whenever you like. For me, I prefer the manual pump. I find that it's easier, it's lighter weight. I can change positions however I like, and it's not noisy, and I can just flip. I can go between breasts if I like. My second tip would be nurse first and formula after. Now, it's easy to be tempted to just do formula if you think that you're not really producing enough for your baby to eat anyway, especially in the beginning. So it is time consuming, but this actually really works. So the first thing you want to do is just put your baby to the breast, and it doesn't matter how long you really do this. You just give it some time, but you don't have to sit there for what would naturally be a full pump session if you're not making as much milk. All you need to do is just do it and just go at your own pace. Sometimes you can just do 10 minutes. Sometimes it's 5 on each breast. Just start small and work your way to the top. Okay, if you go with this formula, you can start really small, and then you start to increase it as you go. As the days pass, as the weeks pass, you can just start to increase it as you go, and that will you end up starting to cut down on how much formula you use because you're nursing longer, you're producing more milk. This third tip is actually, I find it very useful. I actually use this a lot, and some people might find it strange, but I liked having the feeling of full breast, so I know that if I have a pumping session, it'll be enough to feed my child and I can just move on. So I alternated between breast milk and formula. So I'd wake up in the morning, I could feed first, I could nurse, and then the next time would be formula. And by the third feed around, my breast would probably feel a little fuller, so I would be able to nurse. So it's nurse, formula, nurse, formula, nurse, formula. Now this fourth tip is what moved me from 50-50 breast milk formula regimen to exclusive breastfeeding. I remember I had the 50-50 regimen down pat, but I was finding it difficult to become exclusive because that was my goal. And I spoke to a lactation specialist, and what she told me was to nurse often and nurse for comfort. So my baby was colicky, so there was a lot of room to comfort. So what I did was I would feed him, and even though I knew he wasn't hungry, when he started to cry or to be uncomfortable, I'll just put him to my breast. He really liked being comforted that way, and I did a lot of skin to skin, and it will always calm him down because he was a colicky baby. So it worked to calm him down, and it also really brought in my milk supply. Now this fifth tip is the end all be all, because this actually changes from day to day. If you're trying to increase your breast milk supply, you will need to drink a lot of water. You're going to drink more than is enough to quench your thirst. Just keep water handy around you. Before you know it, you kind of get really used to it. You can have just like a little flask or a little water bottle next to you that's always full. If you like cold water, it's a good way to refresh. I personally prefer like iced water. And that's what I did. I drank throughout the day. I have a big gallon of water in my car all the time. So I always kept myself hydrated. This is not just a tip to increase your breast milk supply. This is a tip to maintain your breast milk supply. I know now that I'm exclusively breastfeeding, I notice that there are some days when I don't drink enough water. I don't really get full enough, or I don't really get to a point where I need to pump and store in order to not leak everywhere or to cause pain or engorgement. So I noticed that if I don't drink very much water or enough water in the day, I end up just breastfeeding only. So the water is really important. It's important day to day, and it's important when you just want to take your breastfeeding to the next level in your journey. So those are the 5 tips. But I just wanted to add that this will be different for everybody. You don't have to do all the tips, and you don't have to do them in any particular order. Just go with your body. Just know that these are things that can help increase your flow. They also shouldn't be things that make you suffer. So you already have a lot of things to deal with, so you don't have to stick to a specific book. So this next tip is what I'd call a bonus tip. I'm not sure that it made a significant difference in my breastfeeding goals, but it was fun to try, so I tried this out at the beginning when I was just starting out. I also bought some breast milk treats. I bought from a company called Milky Mama. This video is not sponsored. As you can see, this is a really small channel. This is my first video. But I just wanted to share with you that this is what I did. So I bought I believe it was the oatmeal raisin cookies. I don't think it was raisins in it. I think it was oatmeal cookies and the emergency brownies. They tasted really good. I really felt like I was having a treat. Maybe a little too much because I think I finished both boxes under a week. But that's what I did. I did not buy more of them. I just decided to work more using the other methods. So I had oats and the breastfeeding treats. And that's what I used. So in all that you do, regardless of what method that you use, it's important to keep the consistent goal. Your goal is to get your milk supply up. Now, since there are many ways to achieve that, you can always alternate from one method to the other. It doesn't matter which one you pick. Just make sure that at some point you're doing something, just so that you can keep the goal in sight. So thank you for watching the video. If you liked my video, feel free to subscribe or like the video, share with your friends, whatever. So you can drop, if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. I will be reading all the comments. And if you have any suggestions about things that you want me to talk about, just let me know, and we can get to it. So it was nice talking to you, and have a good day. Bye-bye.